Stitch this with your most unpopular piece of advice that you swear by. I'll start. Mine is that you don't have to do a job that you are passionate about. You don't have to follow your passion. I think that that's bullshit. It's great if you want to, but also it is just as valid to get a job that pays really fucking well so that you have enough free time and money to actually do what you're passionate about. Like, I tried to be a freelance writer. I was working my ass off and I still didn't break like $30,000 a year. But I make more now working part-time than I ever did as a freelance writer. And I get to write what I want, when I want, and I'm happier and I have more money to do other things. Like, that's a win. Stitch this with your most unpopular piece of advice that you swear by.
If you're in a relationship and you find yourself making a pros and cons list, red flag. Because like anytime I was doing that in relationships, it was to convince myself that things weren't as bad as they actually were. My current relationship, my partner has flaws, but I would not consider any of them cons.
Stitch this with your most unpopular piece of advice that you swear by.
I used to stand and live by this quote, and it explains why I'm in the predicament that I am in. And it is, play them before they play you. And let me just say, not everyone's trying to play you. Just let somebody love you. Don't do that shit.
Stitch this with your most unpopular piece of advice that you swear by.
God, I love this app. The first piece of advice came from TikTok. It was that happiness is like the top of the spectrum and sadness is the bottom. So we should strive to be okay. You know, especially if depression, if you're sad, like you just strive to be okay and like things aren't as bad. That has helped me a lot in the last few weeks. The second piece I got was from an Uber driver. It's an Arabic man that I became friends with. I would just call him. He would just pick me up. I didn't even have to use the Uber app anymore. He looked at me one night. He goes, I love to see you have fun and spend the money the way that you want to spend it, because I know that means you're investing in yourself instead of slaving away. Because money will come and go your entire life. Make your money work for you and have the fun you want to have. Spend it and live it at the same time. And I've been doing that ever since.
Stitch this with your most unpopular piece of advice that you swear by.
It's okay to ghost someone. Unless you've gone out a bunch of times or been talking for months, you don't owe them anything and they don't owe you anything. So many times when someone tries to be respectful and let them know they're not interested anymore, the recipient gets super defensive and angry, and it starts this conflict that no one needs. So ghost away.
Stitch this with your most unpopular piece of advice that you swear by.
That we're not throwing away money by renting, and that owning a home actually isn't a good investment. So we all have a cost of living, regardless if we're renting or buying. But when we buy, depending on the area, we assume that we'll sell it for more than we bought it. And that when we sell it, we're actually going to make a profit when we consider all of the costs that go into owning. Remember, we have to pay this thing every month. But when you rent and you take that money that would go into your home into an investment property, you still have the option of appreciation, except this time someone else is paying the cost for you. And when done right, after all the costs are paid, then you have money that's coming into your pocket every single month. So people don't like hearing it because it goes against what we were taught primarily from our parents.
Stitch this with your most unpopular piece of advice that you swear by.
Celibacy. I know a lot of people don't agree with this, but just hear me out. We have like a hookup culture society where it's like cool to be having sex with people. It like validates you in some sort of way. And it's also like uncool to not be having sex. Something must be wrong with you. You're not good enough. You're not pretty enough, whatever. All that is such bullshit. Your most powerful life force and energy is your sexual energy, and when you're handing that out to whomever, having casual hookups, Lord forbid, with people that do not give a fuck about you, you really don't know what you're doing to yourself. You're giving away all that energy and life force to so many different people, or people who just aren't worth it. It leaves you with nothing for yourself, and then you wonder why you can't get ahead in life, why you don't feel good about yourself, why things just aren't going your way, why you just don't have the energy or motivation to do anything. You're handing out all of your energy when you do that. Just think about it, try it out maybe.
Stitch this with your most unpopular piece of advice that you swear by.
People only ever have power over you if you want something from them. Let me repeat that again. People only ever have power over you if you want something from them. So my piece of unpopular advice? If you ever find yourself in the unfortunate circumstance of blaming another person for making you feel badly, ask yourself, what do you actually want from them? Approval? Attention? Assurance? Validation? A favor? A hug? Then once you've figured it out, and I know you will because you're a smart cookie, I want you to brainstorm multiple different ways of getting that need met. Communicating that need to said person being at the top of that list. And if said person isn't willing or capable of giving you what you need even after you've asked, cross them off and move down the list.
Stitch this with your most unpopular piece of advice that you swear by.
Don't listen to your parents unless you want to be doing the exact same thing they're doing at their age. Go find someone who's doing the thing you want to be doing and listen to them. Their advice about money, work, relationships, whatever you want is going to be much more useful because they have what you want.
Stitch this with your most unpopular piece of advice that you swear by.
This is for my ladies, although men can also take this advice. But leave. Just leave. If the date is going bad, leave the date immediately. If the relationship is going bad, leave the relationship. If they cheat on you the first time, leave. Leave without warning. Leave without confrontation. Leave without thinking twice. Leave without second guessing yourself. Leave without giving them a chance to explain. Leave without the expectation that you'll ever get closure because that's a made-up concept. Fall off the face of the earth. I promise you, if you do this, you'll save yourself years of torture.
Stitch this with your most unpopular piece of advice that you swear by.
Please formulate your own opinions. I understand that the internet can make people become more aware about social issues, but I've seen so many people comment on a video that was like a controversial opinion about like a social issue. And they'll be like, oh my gosh, is this okay? Like, can I do this? Am I offending anybody? And I get it up to a certain point, but I feel like too many people on the internet base their opinions off of other strangers' opinions on the internet. Maybe you do agree with what that stranger is saying, but all I'm saying is go out there and formulate your own opinions. Don't let all of your personal beliefs and opinions be from people on the internet that you do not know. Stop asking random people if what you're doing is okay. Go out there and do your own research and really ask yourself, do you think that that's okay? Because I swear no one is thinking for themselves nowadays. Everyone is letting the internet think for them. And it's kind of sad to see. Because everyone is turning into like carbon copy clones of each other. I don't even know if it's because people actually believe in what they're speaking of, or people are just jumping on the bandwagon when it comes to opinions.
Stitch this with your most unpopular piece of advice that you swear by.
If you go out with someone that meets your non-negotiables, but you're not attracted to them, you have to go out with them at least 3 more times. Trust me, I used to marry strangers.
Stitch this with your most unpopular piece of advice that you swear by.
There are 2 treadmills in life. In school, you learn one treadmill, but you're kept ignorant of the second. The first treadmill involves the indoctrination that money is tied to time or that money is tied to a thing. That an hour of your life is worth $15 and a year of your life is worth $50,000. It's not. So the treadmill is this: if you want more money, you need to sacrifice more of your life. With this mentality, money is treated like a reward. You are rewarded for sacrificing your life. The wealthy are on a different treadmill. They take money and purchase things that generate more money. When they buy things that create money, now they have more money to buy more things that create money. This treadmill produces increasing amounts of cash, which must be used to buy increasing amounts of things that create money. In this scenario, money is treated like a tool, not a reward. Take care.
Stitch this with your most unpopular piece of advice that you swear by.
Get married young. Ooh, I know, controversial. I got married when I was 20, and in 2 weeks, it'll be our 6-year wedding anniversary and 8 years that we've been together. Now, I'm not promoting for all young people to just go out and get married. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that there's such a focus on it has to be the right exact time and financial situation, and when you finish school or before school or whatever, all these different pressures, and there's never going to be a perfect time. That's honestly what I learned. We were young and in love, and we knew that it was right, so we got married. So make that decision for what's going to be best for you and your partner, not for anybody else. Of course, listen to the people in your circle, take their advice, but at the end of the day, trust your intuition. I know it doesn't work out this great for everybody, but I'm so glad I married my husband young and I get to spend the rest of my life with him.
Stitch this with your most unpopular piece of advice that you swear by.
Your life begins when you stop giving a fuck. When we're worried about what people think of us, we're never really actually enjoying the current moment. We're too busy thinking about what they're thinking. But the thing is, they're thinking the same thing. They're so self-conscious about what other people are thinking of them. So do whatever the fuck you want. Sometimes I'll literally just start dancing in Publix because I fucking feel like it. And you'd be so surprised. People just kind of giggle, and laugh. It's so funny because I don't give a fuck. I feel like I've broken like a level of a video game and everyone else is bots. And I feel like this simple art of not giving a fuck is a huge way to build your confidence. So do what you want. You'll never see half these people ever again. So why the fuck does it matter? Live your life, babe.
Stitch this with your most unpopular piece of advice that you swear by.
Money's not real. What something is worth is not tied to time and is not tied to an object. An hour of your life is not worth $15 any more than a year of your life is worth $50,000. If you ask 10 people what a house is worth, you're going to get 20 answers. During the U.S. housing crash, when houses went from 400,000 to 100,000, where did the 300,000 go? It vanished, like it never existed, because it never did. And in the last 10 years, when house prices went from 100 to 400, where did the extra 300 come from? It wasn't like someone came by and gave it to the homeowner. It appeared out of nowhere. School won't tell you this, but the value of something in terms of money is tied to your feelings. When society is happy, the price goes up. When society is sad, the price goes down. This is why Warren Buffett says you need to be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. Take care.